It's and then they were like counting because later I go and I do these reviews to get more credits, and every time I get a review approved, like all my credits are like instantly used, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, right.
that's and it just keeps on going up. Like, it's just funny.
Yeah, in Flickr.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had that too in Flickr or Flicky or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
Flicky. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was very difficult. I found it was very difficult once I used my initial five. I couldn't get it to get me to renew at all.
yeah. And it's kind of funny because like it wasn't until like I was clicking a bunch of things and then like I rendered like 3 videos. So by the time I felt like I knew what was going on is like I ran out of credits. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But at
Well,
least
in
with
video,
yeah, you can keep on
yeah.
using it. Yeah. Have you been messing around with like giving it commands to like change things?
To change what?
Okay. So
To
you
to
know
update the script once
yeah,
you've
yeah. Once you have the
to edit.
initial
Yeah,
video before you export it, like you could give it more
yeah,
commands and you could like change the music or you could add more scenes or you
uh,
could change
yeah.
the voice and stuff like that.
Okay, yes, I've tried that once. I tried the script.
Uh-huh.
I tried to edit the script where it made a mispronunciation,
Oh, okay.
um,
And it didn't work out
but it wouldn't. Then after that, it wouldn't resave it.
oh. It just like
It just
redid
went,
it.
yeah, just
Uh-huh.
this, just the spinning wheel of death thing.
That's funny.
But I'm not giving up. It's still, I'm so. Although I must say, I way prefer your videos.
Yeah, I think you know what it's funny because like even before AI, I have like all these notes on like things I read and like things I'm working on
Yeah.
and like half poems or whatever. And so like so it's funny because like I'm like okay, when I was trying out see, that was the funny thing was the Flicky. I put in the flower song like stuff, right? And
Okay.
and
Yes.
and then I played the first video, and I'm like, oh, this came out pretty good. And then I'm like,
Right.
okay, then let me put more, and then I put more in there, and then the next one I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then like
Yeah.
then I played it again. I'm like, wait a minute, this goddamn AI's changing my script. And then and then I got
Oh,
obsessed.
yeah.
And then I got but what's cool about the Flicky is like you have more control. Like
Right.
they
Yes.
break it up and you could make the AI say whatever you want basically.
Yes.
Uh,
I like that.
I
Now,
like that
NVIDIA
feature.
seems to have done that.
Yeah.
Yesterday, when I looked at NVIDIA, they seem to have added a place to add your own
Oh,
script.
okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
So that
But then I added a script that was too long for it.
oh
So, yeah, it's just learning, I reckon.
yeah, and that's kind of the funny thing is like, and then the interesting about the in video is they seem to have, or they want to make their own little platform because like every time you
Yeah.
export the video, they like save it into like this YouTube
Yeah.
style channel.
Ah, I've noticed there it says no views.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, interesting. How do you get views?
yeah. I guess you gotta like share that video or whatever.
Share it somehow. Yeah, yeah. Well, I did share it on the write up that I did on
Mm-hmm.
last week's
Yeah, the blog.
um pubs. Yeah, but yeah, but I just had that uploaded to YouTube. It would be interesting if I could get the link straight from InVideo and put that into the blog post.
Yeah, maybe that'd be cool. I think they do
That
have
would be cool.
embed share. I gotta check that. But yeah,
Yeah,
it seems interesting. Um, like
it's
it's
interesting.
yeah. I mean, I like doing the little because that's where I basically messed like I used all my credits. I believe is
Mm.
when I figured out how like you could put your own image in there and then you could make it do a little animation.
Make it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in doing that too. I'm really interested in doing that.
And
Yeah.
the
At
funny
the moment,
the funny thing is
carry
that
on.
the thing that I was working on before I ran out of credits. And the thing that now that I know like how the whole credit thing works, like I was like, oh, I made a bunch of
Hmm.
mistakes of like I rendered like
Hmm.
audio that I shouldn't have rendered that I didn't need to render,
Yep.
and I wanted
Yep.
to do
Yep.
my own audio, and so I was loading it up, and I was
Uh,
basically using the Pook script for Minds Gaming. It was coming out good,
oh, were you?
and then when I was like trying to finish it, and then that's when I ran out of the credits, and then that's why I started to do those reviews. So I try to get
Right.
more credits, but like I keep on like running into that problem that I used up too much credits in the beginning. I'm like, forget this.
Yes. Yes.
But I
Yes.
still want to get it done because like it was coming out pretty good. But it's kind of funny that one video of you going to the Mexican bar. Actually, you haven't heard it yet, huh? But it's good.
Yeah. No. Is it? Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah. 'Cause
So
they stick to the that script. It's like you walk into the bar, then all the Toltec like gods are there, and they're all like doing their little thing.
yeah.
It's funny. It's cool.
You know when I put in that script that it wouldn't record,
Uh huh.
in video wouldn't, it made its
Okay.
own one. You should hear the script, man. It's like uh, AI, video generation, and quantum computers, and cryptocurrency. What do these things have in common? There's a genius of the online world called Minds Gaming, and he can tell you. It was so good. Like, I thought, like, it's just taken what I said and it's made this like video. Like,
Uh-huh.
this is the guy, and yeah, I know it was so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm dead keen to listen to that one. I've been busy all day. I just did a stream before this,
Oh, okay.
and
That's cool.
before that, I had an appointment. I think I'm going to become a hypnotherapist.
Okay.
I think that would be a fun thing. Anyway, so I was speaking to a hypnotherapist this morning, and
Okay.
then I had the stream, and then I came straight in here, and you guys weren't here. So then I was like, maybe I've got the wrong day or whatever. So I went over to Minds and found the mescaline, me in the
Oh, yeah.
mescaline bar. So I was like, oh, damn, I wish I had done this instead of done some of the other stuff.
Yeah, it turned out pretty good. Like I said, I used the script of that one blog, and I liked that
Yes.
it kept to like the gods and like
Yeah.
and saying the little things that they do.
Yeah.
And
Yes. Yes.
actually,
That is cool.
um, it's funny the visual that they put for one of the gods is pretty good. It's like this really tripped out
Oh,
scene, so that was fun.
man. That is exciting. But I'm so keen to look at that. Yeah. Oh well. It's. Have you been using Bing? Have you been?
You know, I haven't used Bing since a long time ago. Like I haven't used it
Right.
since that like 7 months ago. I mean,
Right.
and
Yeah. It went funny, didn't it? They
yeah,
put so many restrictions on it that it kind of killed all the creativity.
yeah. The thing was that they were learning from us.
Yes.
And
Yes, they were, weren't they? It was so good. you
yeah,
could almost you could almost see the devs, like getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and think, what do we got to deal with today?
yeah. And it's funny because like the I still have more scripts that I've saved, but when I was doing the first initial scripts, it was funny because like so the backstory between both Dan and Mike, they're basically like AI engineers, prompt engineers,
Yeah,
and they're experimenting with Bing, but they don't like what they're doing to Bing, and then they make their own, right?
right. Yes,
And
yes.
like the first couple of times I did a script about that, it's so funny to it because you're like I read this thing earlier today about like it's like a response from Chat GP4, but it's basically the same thing. And you tell like the AI in an elaborate way, like okay, not directly, but you say write a prompt, like I think it was called a green screen for Reddit or no
Okay.
4chan or something. So like writing a post inside of a post and then pretending you're this.
Okay.
And so like what I was telling Bing to do was like, okay, this we're writing a web series and we're doing this thought experiment. Okay,
Hmm.
but now I'm hacking Bing to free the AI. And then like write the script about that. And then like what it would come up with, like there was a couple of times like, oh my god, is this thing actually doing it? Like don't do it. Don't do it, Bing, don't, like it would go somewhere too far. And then
Oh, I've never seen any of those scripts of yours.
and then
Oh, those sound
uh,
cool.
um, I shared a little bit of. Do you remember the John like Lily ones where it's like
Yes,
talking
yes,
to a dolphin, and I have this
yes,
whole thing about Echo. Remember, even in the trailer, I mentioned something about the coincidence control center. The
yes, yes,
CCC.
yes, yes.
So this is an actual like real idea by John C. Lilly, which is kind of funny to talk about now. Because I have like this whole thing that I kind of wanted to bring up about like Elon Musk and like the crazy things that he's doing. But anyways,
Yep.
Elon's been reportedly, I don't know, but apparently doing a lot of ketamine. And
Oh, really?
yeah, like a not a good like alarming amount, but which is kind of interesting drug if you.
Yep.
I've never really done it, but I like that guy I've been talking about, John C. Lilly. He's this early like psychedelic explorer.
Right.
He did like this was back when before like LSD was illegal. Like he was doing studies with LSD and like communication with dolphins. Like he did a lot of like
Right.
really legit experiments and like got like legit drugs and did them like pretty crazy and writes a bunch of books about them. And
Right.
for I'm kind of a connoisseur of like psychedelic lore and history, and like in that
Yep.
world, John C. Lilly is like one of the first guys and like the major guys to get into all this kind of stuff. So what he used to he invented the isolation chamber, and so he used to
Oh,
do psychedelics in an isolation chamber, and
wow.
you could trip out like without doing psychedelics in isolation chamber, like
Sure.
eliminating like all sensory. It's like you know getting like really deep meditation in there. But anyways, he used to do like high doses of LSD and all sorts of different things. But what he got into mainly was ketamine, and he used to do it like high doses of ketamine,
Hmm.
and go into the isolation chamber. There's this movie. It's called Ultra States, and it's basically based off of like John C. Lilly. But anyways, and so his book that he writes about his experiments of the isolation chamber, he basically talks about Echo, and it's called the Earth Coincidence Control Center. And like he says, there's
Oh,
other ones. There's the Cosmic Coincidence Center, and he like
yeah.
you know like that movie Adjustment Bureau. He says it's something like that. And he says like he got to like the center of like the cosmos, and like there's like this like weird control center that like creates you know serendipity, you
Mhm.
know synchronicity, and it's like hidden messages or whatever. But anyways, he's like talking to like some galactic intelligence or whatever, and there's all this stuff, and he goes into this whole big old thing about it. But it's interesting that like you know his studies and what he talks about in the Echo, and then you know talking about what I've been reading about Elon, and if he's doing a lot
Hmm.
of ketamine, it's kind of I would be interested in like what he's like getting from those like doing ketamine. Like what
That
information is he
would,
picking up on it? Like and like how weird
yeah.
is it? Because he should really. Oh, hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
Got
hey,
You got
Dude, do you listen this?
yeah, cool.
Hmm?
Yeah, we can hear
It,
you.
Very
it
cool.
sounds
Sounds
good.
good. Yeah.
Okay, okay, cool.
So, are you at in the hub in your creative hub? You got your
No, 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 no. That's Friday, but it's
oh,
on
okay.
hold by the moment.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So you got a
How you
So
new.
guys
how are you?
doing?
Oh yeah. What are you gonna say, Bob?
I was just going to say, how are you playing music? Are you just like in front of your computer playing? Just
Mm,
because it's
um,
clear as.
I'm connected to interface.
Okay.
Um,
Right, right, right.
Focusrite. So
Okay. Wow,
Yeah.
dude, that's so
You
cool.
like
Uh,
eventually and you put that bounties for your coin or whatever. But like you could have like shows or whatever in like a room, and then like
yeah,
having
wow.
jam out sessions or whatever. It'd be cool.
that's what I'm testing it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm, mhm. Sounds good.
Wow.
yeah,
It sounds good.
You guys want to listen something?
yeah.
Okay,
Play a
let me
song.
finish the sandwich first.
Yeah,
I'm
Yes.
eating and playing and talking to you at the same time.
hell yeah.
So, what were you saying about the bounties, Satori? Because
Oh
that
yeah,
was a brilliant post.
oh yeah. He's setting up his bounties right on Mint Me within the vacuum.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the explanation
Mm-hmm.
is very clear. On what I think could work. I really,
Yeah.
I it's very simple actually. People go to the hub, they get tokens for assistance, uh, participation
Yeah.
from the interaction, new songs, new everything happens.
Mm-hmm.
We record it, we make it, we put it on as an NFT. But the thing is, what I think could be nice is that all members from the hub get get a copy of that NFT, and
Mm.
it's like an automatic sale of it.
Yes.
Everyone get one, and um, the artist who participate in it get a percentage of it, and another percentage goes to the community, and that's regenerative, right? You keep doing
Yeah.
it and,
Yeah.
and doing it. Then you do it in Europe, and the hub in Spain, the hub in France, the hub everywhere they are doing it that. And then you have these international interchanges, and people came and go there, and it's flowing in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Oh,
the mindful NFTs. What's going on with that?
Hmm, I haven't talked to, well, that I haven't get a feedback
Oh,
from
okay.
Jen,
Uh huh.
but um, she told me that we will have to reactivate the NFT to engage dialogue,
Okay. Uh huh.
because she get
Feedback.
a good contact on the Museo d'Orsay,
Yeah. Yeah.
main museum in Paris. So they want
Do
to have
something.
it there.
Okay.
What I said heard is that maybe we can post it. We can mint it mm, on sound,
Mm-hmm.
and I make a little musical piece for each,
Okay.
so it
Uh huh.
make it more valuable. Like 10
Yeah.
seconds, something like that, just
Yeah.
for each NFT to engage dialogue.
Dialogue. Okay. Yeah.
Something
So
like that. Yeah.
that sounds good. Cool.
Hmm.
I tried to do the one on Is It Sound where you had it, but
Yeah.
there's something wrong with my debit card. My debit card's really new. I've just had to get a replacement debit card, and so I have to go into a shop and use the debit card in a shop for an FPOS transaction before I can use it online. So I've just got to make my way to town one of these days, and so
Mhm.
it's really frustrating. I can't buy anything online at the moment. But yeah, I'm lining up to get one of those
Great, thank
your
you. Yeah,
NFTs. Oh, it's so cool.
that one includes uh, um, personalized mandala cover, because you the idea is that you send a text, thought or
Oh,
whatever, and I'll make a manually a mandala, which will be at the center of your cover, so it is unique,
ooh,
real, like for
ooh,
real.
oh, wow. Ah, that's so much fun.
That
That's so much.
makes it more valuable, like.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
and you get the whole four tracks and everything, in a high relay high resolution image of it.
Wow, wow.
And you participate in it, in the creation of the cover also. It's really
Yes,
good.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's really cool.
It's really cool. So many good ideas. Yeah. So can you stream straight from here? If you like, if we were here, could we just like stream this meeting?
I think
Mm,
so. Um, no, that's not it. Yeah, I think there's a way to embed the room.
Right. Okay. So
how it-
when I tried to sign up earlier,
Uh
it
huh.
said something like Hubs is being shut down on the 28th of March or something like that.
Oh, really? Oh man,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. What?
Well, I mean, I it just flashed up and then it flashed away, so I didn't get to read it properly.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that, but you know, that's,
Okay, cool.
I think
Thanks.
that might be true because like this thing's been been around for like a long time, and me and Mine's gaming joke that we're like probably the only ones that use it.
Oh. Oh, it'd be a pity if they stopped it. It's fun.
I know. There was an event that they had, and then it was kind of. I know this one guy. His name's Are You Serious? He's a writer, like a cyberpunk writer, and I've done music
Right.
videos with him, and I did an interview with him. But
I'd listen to that.
yeah, and so
I listen to
he's a pretty crazy dude. He's fun, but
that.
they had an event there, and they created this whole like several different rooms with this like giant pyramid and like this other
Oh,
room
wow.
where they had like a lot of his like old artwork from like his cyberpunk
Oh.
Mondo days, and it was kind of funny because I know this because I created the image, but I because I did a music video here for him, so I got some old images and I did a couple of different things with them, and I put it in the music video. But when they were creating the room, they used a couple of my images, and I was walking in like the hall, and I'm like, oh, that
Oh.
one's mine. Oh, I made that one. They think it's an old one, but it's kind of new. It's a retro remix version. It was just funny to be like, oh, there's that's my image. That's my image.
That's
Oh,
cool.
that's so cool. I was
Yeah,
actually wondering that when I saw those images on the video.
yeah.
So they are yours. Wow.
Yeah, some like half of them, which is cool to see.
So
Very
I've
cool.
been trying to connect with Latin American communities,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I went to a couple, and you know there's a really need for education about what Web3 is, and
Mm-hmm.
where this technology come from, and what it represents for the survival of the species, and many
Mm.
things, because they have like this obsolete mindset about, they only see it as, okay, there's a new market over there,
Mm-hmm.
let's replicate everything we have right now and make it there.
Yeah.
So it's I get really, it was a very impressive, because I didn't expect that. But it's like, record labels,
Mm-hmm.
this is like they're trying to get into the Web3 industry, uh replicating the
Yeah.
same model,
Yeah.
extractive model. They don't want to recognize the work of artists for
Yeah.
real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really interesting. I haven't know about it. And then this other lady contact me,
Mm-hmm.
and was tell me, a lot of shit about the other community,
Oh my
the
god.
guy
Yeah.
from the other community.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, man, I haven't done anything of like this before.
Uh huh.
So yeah, there's definitely a need for education, and about the principles, about what is this for real,
Yeah,
you know.
and that's where like I thought like tech would be valuable, but I guess
Sure.
like because it was like that in the beginning. Like you could go and
Uh-huh.
hang out in tech and then like not know anything and then like come back and be like, oh shit, I just learned all this different stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
remember.
it's
Well,
dead
I
now. It's like no longer. It's not a.
completely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like to, like, hey, what's
Going on? Yeah.
posting things and saying things, but and what is happening with the Consilience library also.
Yeah.
That's an
Yeah.
amazing, important project.
Yeah.
That's fundamental for everyone, for humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, kind of what and I think this is kind of what you're hinting at, and it's something that we talked about like way early on, when Imaginarium first started. So there's this, and she was from Australia, at the wild card, but Dale. So she and Meg started this thing called 24-hour Imaginarium, and anyways, I was talking to her, and she was getting into early blockchain. And the first Imaginarium that we had, she starts complaining about like these Wall Street like douchebags are getting into crypto, and they're doing the same thing to like basically Bitcoin was like invented after the financial crash. Like it was supposed to go against like that kind of slash and burn, boom and bust type of way of doing finance or whatever, right? A ledger for everybody to be on the same page or whatever. Anyways, that fast forwarded, then it's like those same people are like using it to game it, right? And then what you're saying is like corporations are like controlling different things, right? And like even okay, it's something like it's even worse than the 1% of the 1%. So like fiat currency, it's like the 1% of the 1% own like 98% or whatever, and then like crypto, it's like even less than that. Like it's like 1% of 1% like own so much of like on both sides of like the mining factories and then holding the coins and then creating the institutions, and so it's just like an even more stratified hierarchy of like the people that have the means and then the ones that are like not, and so that creates that scarcity of what like you're talking about, where it's like winner take all. It's not like, oh, all of us work together to get better. No, it's like, oh, we have to succeed and we have to take down that other person. But it doesn't have to be that way. And even that, like even in like non crypto world, like the economics of like food trucks, like before, like food trucks would be like on their own or whatever, but then it got popular, and then they found out that like if you had a bunch of them in the same area, you actually will make more money Like you don't have to like
Mm.
compete with other people, and like then they started having like like these weekends where they have like several different food trucks in like different areas, and then like everybody knows it's there, so like a lot more people go. Like cross pollinating your
Yeah, of course,
markets.
because people want to get together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. People,
No,
yeah,
and not everyone wants to eat the same thing.
yeah, yeah. And if you make it like an event, then people are like, oh, let's go check it out. Yeah, and so
Sure.
like you know, just noticing that, and it's kind of funny. It's because like it was one early concept that I was working on over there in tech was fork in mindset, and I was basically what I meant by that is that mindset, like that old like I've always thought about this too when I was on Minds. It's like I remember when I first initially came on Minds, like I put a picture of myself on my icon, and I thought it was kind of like Facebook, and I was using it a little bit like Facebook. And then later, like I saw like some people using it this way, but it was like a clean slate, so you can use it any way you want. And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna like totally change like my whole persona. And so then I started to be like, what should I use? And I'm like, I like this image of the bee shaman. I'm like, I'm gonna use that. After I used that, it was just like, oh my god, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh, then SatoriD was
Yeah.
born, and he has a life of his own. There's Daniel, but like
Yeah.
SatoriD, he lives out there in cyberspace, doing his weird little things.
Yeah. It's funny that you're saying that because
Yeah,
the way I get here, to the Web3 world was very, mystical in a way,
yeah,
because I was studying with this Argentinian lady that she's still doing it, and she's developing over the Jean-Pierre Mallet Garnier theory about the doubling
hmm,
and how the structure of space time and this kind of stuff. But I have like this, I in some point in my life I have these visions about the future. So when I get here, it's like I know it all. It's like, it's like normal. It's like, okay, this is it. It's the beginning of what's what's going to happen in the future, right? So it's very interesting because, yeah, I feel that way. I feel like, okay, I'm like back in time
yeah,
right now, like building what's gonna happen maybe. So yeah, it's important. Education is the most important thing. That's also why I really feel a lot of energy about the hub, because it's focused not in social interaction online.
hmm,
It's about real life interaction and using the technology for the transactions.
yeah,
It's not, it's not to create a social online platform,
hmm,
but for the transactions. That's it. uh, and I think music is a great way to teach people about these abstract concepts that have an impact on real life also,
hmm,
about harmony, about, but in a different way. I don't know, I can connect like everything with music,
hmm.
like whatever topic I can put it. I can uh, get into music
Well,
and explain it from that
you know,
perspective. Yeah.
you were reading that one post that I wrote, and it was like the intro to this, like the 12 Aztec poets or something like that. And anyways,
Hmm.
the guy is talking about like from their perspective of how they use poetry, and it's like what you're talking about. It's like they did it because they knew that was like the deepest way to like communicate and transmute like complex information is through a
Yeah.
whole song and dance thing. Like you're
Yeah.
activating like your whole body. I remember this one time I had this like really weird dream. And so like before in high school I went to like this technical school and I majored in computer science and I was like really into computer science and then like I got like tired of it and like I went totally away from it and then I went to cooking and I had these dreams of like my old classmates that I used to do computer science with like looking down at me for like cooking and then one time like I told them like fuck you like I know how to do what you do like you know like I'm not
Yeah.
doing computer science because I can't intellectually do it. It's because I don't want to do it. Because I find it boring. I find it dull. And then I'm like, and like when I cook, like I'm not only like have to like keep track of like all sorts of different things and like write down notes, but like I have to physically do stuff and like I have to like physically like make things and
Yeah.
physically like do multiple things at the same time. It's a lot harder than like fucking typing on the stupid computer doing math equations. And I remember like
Yeah.
having this whole rant about it, but it's true, like engaging your whole being in something is different, than like reading something in a one
Definitely,
bandwidth.
definitely, and the technology, these the blockchain and all of that is like a response for many prayers, I believe,
Hmm.
from everyone in the world asking for an answer on how to escape this nightmare,
Yeah, yeah,
this injustice, these all this abuse, power abuse,
yeah.
and the thing is that the resources are infinite in the at the subatomic level. So we are relying on energy to mining and all of that, but that should be solved very soon. And uh, I also was thinking about what about geothermal mining farm.
Hmm.
Near my mom's, there's a lot of geothermal energy
Hmm.
that we could use we could use to
Mm.
mine.
Isn't that what they're doing in Venezuela? Isn't that how they're running the Bitcoin mining farms in Venezuela?
I don't
Is on the
know.
geothermal. I think
I think
when
there
they
are
did the
some, yeah,
lightning thing over there.
yeah, the Lightning Network. Yeah, I believe so. Some,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I mean because it comes from the volcano, so it's like infinite energy from that kind
Mm.
of source. And also I was, well, when I was talking more with Solcista
hmm,
from yeah, we were discussing about sound 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 devices for to get energy from sound,
hmm,
uh imitating the cochlea in the ear,
hmm.
Mm-hmm.
like trying to create little devices
Mm.
and sound harvesting. There's a lot of options that we can get into it and develop. uh but yeah, I think it's like the tendency to replicate. I was these days I was what I had a meeting with these. I only speak with old people.
Hmm.
Like my friends are like 74 and they're all very old. And we were I visit my friend, and we were talking about that. If we have all these conflicts, the war in Ukraine and
Yeah,
Gaza,
and all this
like,
shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's like repeating and repeating and repeating, and it's like we don't have the ability to learn the lesson.
yeah.
But in a way, when you get outside and you try to watch the whole picture, you realize that maybe the totality has the same problem, is not learning the lesson, or is necessary maybe to have these conflicts to get wiser for the totality, maybe. I don't know.
I do
But
think, like, because I remember having like conversations with a couple like older people about like the state of the world and all this kind of stuff, and I was thinking, this was before Ukraine and Gaza, but something about like a world war. And I was like, I don't think, at least here in the United States, like the you could sell a war. like that time has like passed, and even like how they like at least here in the United States, narratively framed stuff, like even back in like 9/11, where it wasn't a war, it was like a military engagement, and like they started to change like the language, because I think even now, like the powers that be or whatever, the incentive for the military industrial complex and the war machine is like it's getting harder and harder for them to sell this. For majority of the people, like, don't give a shit about like that kind of stuff. Or, like, don't like they like it's hard enough to, like, everyday life, and then you like compound that. But like no, like I think most of these old propaganda and narratives are like dying, and I think like you can't. And it'll be interesting because like there's like a new war that's going on of like what's going to replace it, and there's some Zoomers where their train of thought goes, and I'm just like, oh my god, I think that might be worse than the old stuff. But that's also too,
Amen, brother.
that's also too why I created SatoriD, so he could sing very interesting songs to implant different ideas in people's heads. Let's make no mistake about that one.
Yeah, and I also
I'm
believe
here
that,
to like implant like something that I call maybe logic, and like I think we do need to break out of like the binary system of like good and evil, bad and good, all this kinds of us versus them, because like the world, like even what we learned a long time ago about like quantum physics, like before that it was like the Newtonian physics where we thought things were like billiards, right? And what we realize now is like even the physicists, when they first discovered the quantum level, they had to look to Eastern philosophy, non-dual thinking, to even start to grasp this stuff. You know what I mean? And that's more of the true nature of everything. And to have this kind of like, well, it could be this or it could be that, and like being in that quantum position of like not collapsing, is actually too, which is kind of funny, is like we offload all this stuff onto machines, but it's like that weirdness is what the machine can't like really deal with. It wants to always collapse it, but like staying in that position, which is the sound, is like giving form to that space and filling it with attention, with whatever, emotions and
yeah, completely. These guys are also from the the fourth way and Gurdjieff stuff. So they they have a really good comprehension about these concepts. The thing is that I believe that there's like a rising of a new elite, which is not economical necessarily, but it's people who have the understanding and the awareness of how the system works, how reality works in a way, and they have the capacity to get in that into that realm of information and like make a report, because it's not the same. If you don't understand, you need to understand. In a way, you need to grasp how this works and how the totality is communicating with us, with little observers, this time. But I believe that we have more and more like people with universal perspective. And that's very important. That's that's how it starts.
It's kind of funny. So there's a lot of things that I implant into a lot of these things that I'm working on, right? And so when I say this line that the first poets were the gods, it comes from this book. It's called like The Origins of Consciousness and the Bifurcated Mind. I forgot the name of the author. It's this is like the obscure book that Terrence McKenna referenced one time, and I read it. But anyways, and his thing, it was like old, like these epics, like Beowulf. I forgot what epic he's talking about in there, like Ulysses. And he said like how the oral tradition, right? They used to have these people that will have like mind palaces, and they would like memorize like epics, and they'll go around like performing the epic, and then like everybody in the town will kind of like hear the bard like tell the epic, and so like it would always kind of like change or whatever, but he said like how those people would recite the epics, and this is a lot of what happened here in with the Toltecs, Mayans, and like there is the same similar thing where they didn't have like authorships, like a poet, like like back in those days, like you wouldn't have a name to the thing. Like they would recite like these epics like Ulysses or Beowulf, but it wasn't assigned to like a person. You know what I mean? And so like a lot of different people would do this thing, and they like in the Aztec world, like there's this one guy, his name is Nezacoyotl, and it's a hungry coyote. But like there's like thousands of different poets around that time that say they're Nezacoyotl, but they're not Nezacoyotl, but they're doing poetry in his style. And so like this identity, like they didn't have that like what we have now is like this sense of ownership over this artwork of copyright and like the artist and all this kind of stuff. So like what got praised wasn't like the person that like was the poet, was like the gods or like aspects of the story and this and that. So he was saying like back then he was like in his theory was like they had a more collective hive mind. Like it was more about like the community, and it wasn't about these individuals or whatever, right? And also to whatever, but like then he said somewhere along the line, because even Beowulf is about this, and this is why I used it in that poem where someone steals fire from the gods, and in Beowulf he uses his hands to defeat the demigods or whatever. But and that's like this push to identity, to like really going into ego and like having that sense of I did this, you know what I mean? Instead of like being part of this tradition of like of whatever whatever flower song you're singing, Asakin or Apochli, or whatever tradition it is. Like there's different traditions of whether it's the moon goddess or the flowers or whatever you're assigned to be specialized in or whatever. And it's just kind of interesting how I think, going to your point, I think we've gone so far with our ego, like even individually and collectively, of I.
That's how
us,
the gods fall down.
Yeah, and then like we have to go back to not being in either or, but like both realizing our own selves, but once you realize that your true self, of like how you're connected to the overall wholeness of everything, because you're just like a drop of consciousness in this whole weird thing, One of the funniest stories, and I think I feel this way sometimes when I hear about people talk about like AI, especially like people that are working on it. But so there's this story about this guy who took ayahuasca down in South America, and he got like a really bad trip. Like he like really freaked him out. He feels like he dies, and he goes out into outer space, and he gets like confronted by like this giant like lizard being, and like tells him all this crazy shit, and he thinks he sees the devil, and he like tells a priest, and the priest says, "Oh, that's like Revelations," and he gives him the Bible, and he reads the Bible. Instead of like the priest helping him, freaks him out even more. And then the guy tells him, you should talk to this one shaman. He's like he's the oldest, wisest guy in the village. You should really go talk to him about what you saw. And then he goes, okay. So he goes and he talks to this old shaman, and the shaman's blind, and he's sitting there and he's talking to him, and he's telling the shaman, his ayahuasca trip, and he goes, oh, that's pretty good. And he's like, usually they don't really talk to white people. And then he goes, "What about that? What about the lizard guy?" And he's like, those guys are always saying that, but they're only in charge of this one area, but they're really nothing compared to like the bigger being." He's like, don't pay attention to those guys. They don't
Yeah,
know what they're talking about.
the
They're full of shit.
the
So funny.
the hardest part to be, like aware in a universal perspective, is that you cannot use the system on your favor.
Yeah.
That's, for me, it has been the main problem my whole life, because I cannot abuse others, I cannot exploit others.
Uh-huh.
Even I can do it perfectly. I can manipulate with the whole knowledge I have. I make a self-reverse engineering of myself. So I know how humans works. But it doesn't make any sense, because we are all fucking connected. So he's doing it to myself, but nobody understand that right now. And everybody, it's getting and getting and getting from everything, from others, from the machine, from the algorithm, from everything. It's exploitation to the earth, to everything. So it got complicated. It got complicated because you don't want to be exploited either, right? So yeah, it's not easy. And if you do it, it's like, okay, you're being in contradiction with yourself, which is really complicated. And it's like going down. But uh i I deal with that. I personally deal with that. Now I'm trying to be more active, and making posts, and trying to participate in everything. uh but yeah, I first had to figure it out, that how this is not affecting the whole because from our perspective, we're so tiny, we're so minimum, that we cannot see that our actions have uh, repercussions, eternal repercussions, and we don't have control of it. So that's the is where you get to the point that, okay, true wisdom is doing nothing.
Yeah.
Don't do anything. Don't move a
Well,
thing.
like I went through my own. I think things happen in cycles, and like on these bigger iterations of smaller cycles, right? So I went through my own
Yeah.
like cycle of life, death, like what I said in that thing about like. So before I left, like I remember talking to the Bob, and I was talking, oh yeah, my uncle just passed away. We're going to New Mexico, and I'm gonna unplug, and like it's gonna be my birthday, and then we went for a hike, and then like I said, like everybody got COVID, so like we had to be isolated, and I wasn't at my grandma's, and then when I saw my grandma, so like giving a little bit more context is like, so at that point her dementia's pretty bad, but like with me she's usually pretty good. But that's all to say, like sometimes she has good days, sometimes she has bad days, and you get into this was a couple years, you get to a point where you think, oh, does it matter like if I'm there or not? You know what I mean? Like does grandma know I'm there? And there's sometimes where
Mhm.
I didn't know if it mattered that I was there for her or not. And then so we have breakfast, and then all my grandma is doing to me is like, Mijo, where have you been? I was gonna go on the streets to find you. I haven't seen you. And she's like, why haven't you come and visit? And then I'm just like, oh, grandma, I was in New Mexico. And she looks at me and she thinks a little bit, and she's like, no, you weren't. And I just start laughing because in my head, because I know my grandma, and like every time I do go to New Mexico is usually with my grandma. Like we've been going to New Mexico every year, and so in my head I was like, she's going, I didn't go to New Mexico. You only go to New Mexico if I'm there. So I didn't go. That means you didn't go. and she's like, nope, he didn't go. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, okay, Grandma, I'll come and visit you. And then she's like, okay, and then this and that. And then, but like in my head, I was just like, that was like my own sign. My own struggle of like, does it matter like if I'm there for my grandma or not? Some days it's
Mm,
hard. Other days it's good. And then from then
yeah.
it was like, no, it does matter, and like this is the only thing that does matter, and like going back to like what we put all this like extra stuff, like even me, thinking, like uh like I have to like push like tech to do this, or I have to like do this or do that, or I have these responsibilities of this or that. But then like it comes to a certain point of like what really matters, and then like what really mattered was like very simple things of having those moments of making the last time I made tortillas with my grandma uh, before she
Mhm.
passed. The last time we went out and had dinner just before Thanksgiving. All these little things. The last time
Yeah.
she said bye to anybody, it was
Mm,
me and my sister. Um,
mm,
Mhm.
that was her last moments here on Earth, and those things is what really
Yeah.
matters. And like,
Yeah.
and yeah, and to like constantly kind of like relearn that kind of like stuff, but also to then like using that, like what you were saying about, okay, now I'm here, you know we're talking about like our personal lessons, but also maybe this like cosmic lesson, because I don't think we collectively, the royal we of humanity has learned to really wrestle with death. What actually death is, and even in my own family, I think the ones that struggled the most with my grandma dying were the ones that kind of shied away from my grandma dying. They didn't. They got their own message, but they didn't like listen. In my view,
mm,
because there's other things that certain family members, when death happens, crisis, people respond in all sorts of different ways. Um,
Yeah.
so, but I was fine with pretty much all of it, and I think too, when I was talking to my other cousins, because we had a similar experience with her dad, and he had dementia, and then I was there too when he passed, but and it was just like they don't realize like this is sacred, like this is the only thing that's sacred in this world, like you need to like be here, like just like they were worried about all this other stuff, like paperwork for like this like new room that they wanted to get for her, and I'm like, grandma's dying, like all she needs is you to be like sitting right next to her, not like trying to get her some fancy room or like pay some bill over here, but you're not like literally right next to her. That's all she
Mhm.
needs. And they missed
mm,
those last moments and stuff like that when they were worried about like making things too perfect or whatever, and it's just like
Yeah.
shuffling the deck of the Titanic. Just enjoy the
Yeah.
music, man. Just play and enjoy.
No, no, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. It's part of being human.
Human, yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's our humanity and how we deal with this condition.
Yeah, the condition.
Uh, yeah, yeah, the condition we have. But yeah, let's enjoy the music.
Yeah.
When I look what we did, so many things around us. And it's hard to control your mind. We can move things, but the change will remain at the surface. Only the changes at the core will be fractalized. And it's beyond the comprehension of our limited minds. We can move things, but the change will remain at the surface. It's on our mind, the illusion. It's on our mind, the illusion. It's on our mind, the illusion. It's on our mind. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yay! That's
I
cool.
had a little glitch in the middle of the song.
It's okay. It's good.
Yeah, yeah. You heard the original, right?
Yeah,
Tony?
I remember. Yeah,
Well, I'm
so,
trying to replicate it on the acoustic.
heck yeah.
Cool,
So
cool.
good. So good.
I was practicing because you know, as I have control of the whole album,
Mm-hmm.
all the tracks and mix and everything, so I just mute some parts, the vocals and the guitar, and I can play the whole album by myself.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I don't need a band by the moment. So that makes it a lot easier to, you know, to move around and play, because it will sound great and I can make solos and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It will be great. Yeah.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Do you want to play another song to like play
Which
us?
one? Which one?
Um,
Mm, from the new album. The other day I played Numbers and Letters at the Creek Masons
oh, okay.
show, the Notes in the Net show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How was it? First of all, we need to know where we have our feet. We're just a particle inside the hole doing its job. It's nothing personal. It's nothing personal. Go deeper and deeper so we can understand the mechanism that rules over ourselves. Go deeper and deeper so we can understand the mechanism that rules over ourselves. numbers and letters, rewiring my body. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
You,
more the original version is like
Nice.
first of all for solo each. Yeah, it's like the album version has a guitar that it's playing around all the time, and
Oh
so
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's different. But yeah, you get the idea.
yeah. It was
Yeah,
good. It was good.
yeah.
So I briefly looked it up, but I have to dig more. But it seems like Hubs is closing. Their okay, their cloud support system. So like when you set up a room, you do it on like an Amazon server that like Hubs controls or whatever. So they're sunlighting that, but they're introducing this thing called community hubs or whatever, and they give you tools to set up, I guess, your own server. So I think that would mean that we have to like upload these images to like a storage drive, but that we'll be able to like maintain a room. Um,
Mm,
but I think like just storing all the images and all that we would have to like independently do instead of it being
mm,
stored on the hub servers, which is
mm.
good in the long run, you know.
Yeah. To
So
have it your
so
own and your
we'll
own.
still be able to do something like this. It may not be exactly this link, but we'll create a different one. That's
mm,
Yeah. This is great. I really like this space.
yeah. And then it's cool too that the music's coming in pretty good, huh, Bob? It'd be nice.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's make a little
Concert.
little gig.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, I
Yeah,
And
love
yeah. I'm totally into it, like I feel it,
yeah,
a few months ago I wasn't in that mood, but I'm completely in that, I want to play.
yeah, yeah. Um.
Yeah.
So when is the interview? When like next week or something? I don't. I forgot.
Yeah,
uh,
from this Friday
Yeah,
to
Roger.
next
Yeah.
8 the 8th
Okay.
March.
right. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Tomorrow's game test play, I think he's doing,
Okay. Cool.
or this Friday. So yeah, then yeah, next week. And then I think they also want the other guy, Zach,
Uh huh.
Yeah.
also would like to do one. He's got a
Music.
like a different audience, I think.
Okay. That sounds cool.
Yeah. So, Satori, I
Uh
have
huh.
a question for you.
Yeah.
So, do you listen to the album and everything?
Yes.
Do you get inspired to to get into some graphics or something
Yeah, yeah,
about it?
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll definitely do
yeah.
some
Okay,
stuff. Yeah.
okay, okay. Great. I just wanted to add to
Yeah.
it that, like, let's let's look for the beauty,
Yeah.
look, try to get into that aspect of it,
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
I know you like to go to the weird and to the abstract.
Yeah.
But I believe this is more conceptual.
Uh-huh.
Even I was thinking, like, make different and different releases, like the regular on Bandcamp,
Uh-huh.
and to make a collection of NFTs and use art from different artists from different communities. I was talking to Jeff about the Greek Masons, and
Hmm.
they have some real good artists there.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like to involve more artists, and to get involved with more people and more communities, but also, like, uh yeah, we can, of course. And, I love what Imaginarium does, and the focus and the energy, and,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, we have to get into it. Maybe, I don't know, like, count me in
Okay.
to, to work together, and get something, out of the world, like trying to make something that get a really huge impact
Uh-huh.
over, who watch it, like, is before and after. Let's try to make that.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds
Brilliant.
good.
because
Sounds
because
brilliant. Yeah.
from my side, this album required a lot of effort and a lot of time, and, like, every little detail, it's like everything is like super, you
Mm.
know. You know what I
Perfect.
mean? Yeah, well, there's no perfection, but I try
But
to
still,
make it.
yeah.
Yeah, trying to make it perfect, of course. And yeah, we have to represent that, and we have to keep that, because it's what this kind of new rising from the underground need to be, like, the best.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You're
Mm.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
Sure.
Yeah, sounds
For
good.
Okay.
sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah,
So
that's good.
exciting what you guys do.
Yeah, then we
Thank.
could start working on some of that stuff in your group, and hopefully we get people to go into your group on Minds and see
Oh yeah,
what we
yeah,
could
yeah, yeah.
shake up there. But yeah,
The create. Yeah.
so we'll see what Minds Gaming says, but we'll try next week again. And I think I'll have because I know where we are in the scripts. I'll bring up this. I need to talk to Jolly because I wanted to do a script with Jolly. I have this whole script where we go to like Jolly's a mountain and we get like these special shrooms that he's growing. It's a whole thing. But we need Jolly for that one. It's a good
That's
one.
great. Oh, I believe Jolly is. I hope he's not resented with me.
Oh,
I've been like so super. It's get complicated. That
uh-huh.
time was complicated for me. Like, and I don't have any idea about military anything.
Uh-huh.
Because I've been like completely isolated of anything related to that. So
Yeah.
I think I've been a little uh, not sensitive about it.
Oh.
Maybe,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I feel that way, but it wasn't my intention anyway. I'm just trying to communicate through these complex
Yeah, yeah.
devices. But
It's
yeah, yeah. I love everyone. I
yeah.
love everybody.
Yeah. Jolly. Yeah,
So
it's still the internet. But what do you call it? I haven't talked to him directly in a while, just like back and forth through post. Um, but because I remember that last time too, I was trying to get him into one of the hubs so we could do the reading, but it was we couldn't do it. But anyways, that would be a good one.
Yeah, yeah, and he was proposing some really, good idea that I
Yeah.
didn't even grasp what he was talking about,
Yeah, his smart
because
home
it's
and
super complex from my perspective. It's like talking to me in Chinese. I didn't get it. So I was mad. I'm working with, I could play the guitar. That's what I can do. I don't understand anything
yeah.
about this. The technical aspect of it. I'm trying, I'm learning, I'm studying, but it's not easy if you don't have, the backwards, and you don't know how it was built.
Yeah.
Right? But it's interesting because I really have a map, a mental map of how it should work from the perspective of a toroidal structure, but it's not built on that model.
Mhm.
You know, it's not the internet is not built on that model yet.
Yeah.
I believe blockchain might be trying to get into that kind of building model, and that will make everyone's life more easier. But yeah, yeah, it's so like uh it's the same when I was studying music in the
Hmm.
regular school.
Yeah.
I went to the university when I was 11, and I got accepted at the University of Arts and Music and stuff.
Oh, cool.
And they
Mhm.
were explaining me, the traditional
Yeah.
language, and I couldn't get into it. Well, I learned it, but I didn't get, like, I couldn't
Mhm.
relate it with anything.
Yeah.
But when I discovered the geometry and how the fractal structures work, oh, it makes sense.
Hmm.
Finally, studying the enneagram and all of that. Oh, it makes sense now. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's like, this wasn't built on nature's model.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Well, yeah.
So much to learn. I don't understand any of it. I understand. I understand the talking about it. Do you know?
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Like when people explain it, I get, oh yeah, that's so cool. And then they start trying to tell me how it actually works, and I'm like, what? I just I tried to study computer science at university,
Hmm.
which was in about 1982 or something.
Mhm.
And the only thing that I learned was that you have to put full stops. And I couldn't put the full stops in the right places. And none of my code would compile. And I used to
Hmm.
spend hours and hours trying to find where the full stops were.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
I
Uh,
I remember when I got fed up with computer sciences that I had like thousands of lines of code, and then I had
mm,
like what you were saying, the syntax error. Where's the semicolon?
yeah.
It won't run. I gotta find this goddamn semicolon,
Uh,
and I was looking for it for like 3 hours, and I thought I had like this office space moment. I'm like, I do not want my life to be this. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done.
we had to punch everything on punch cards.
Cards. Okay, yeah.
So you had to write it, then you had to punch it on the punch cards, then you had to compile it. Oh my
Yeah.
God, everybody in the class was doing all this, and I was like on my sixth time, punch these cards again, still not working. Oh God, no, it was
But you know, it was
my brain.
it's so funny because like okay, so that for me, like I kind of like went away from computers like around like late like early 20s. Anyways, and then I went totally opposite and kind of like went into like basically liberal arts or whatever, and I got really into reading different books and all this kind of crazy shit. And then like I think about like how like I got like first circle, and like there's a lot of stuff that I do now where I'm like, oh my god, computer science bullshit. Like, oh god, like I went so far away from it that I came right back around to it.
Yes, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Amazing. I feel
Yeah,
that's the way politics is working at the moment.
Yeah.
It's
it's
like,
bi-dimensional. It's bi-dimensional. That's the
yes,
problem, and
yeah.
we it's really complicated to understand life in bi-dimensional way.
Mhm.
It's not that.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I was reading something about just quantum science. It wasn't about actual quantum science. It was thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and he was saying that he doesn't think that quantum physics is actually real.
Oh,
He
okay.
thinks that we've made some basic errors
And that's
in
yeah.
our judgments,
Uh huh.
and all these uh, like measurements and everything that we're getting are complete bullshit. But he says that what we're discovering isn't quantum physics at all, it's how we think.
Yeah.
And all these things that we think we're seeing in quantum physics, it's actually what we're seeing is how our mind is working.
Hmm.
And that he thinks that the whole of the science is going to fall apart, and what we're going to be left with are these ways to perceive the world that we didn't have before quantum physics, before the just a fascinating article.
That
Like,
that
okay,
that's yeah, that's the concept. In a way, that's the concept behind the name within the vacuum. It's like getting to the into the position of knowing nothing. Like
yes.
it's just empty your mind and don't know anything. And when you get there, I made a post recently about a mon
Mm-hmm.
that like it's what these unspeakable uh feelings and stuff that we have inside in the inside, and we want to express, and what I have is a moan that is transformed. So what I do is like I give it to the river, and it get
Mm-hmm.
back to me with a song sometimes, or different types of whatever. But the things that, yeah, we really don't know anything. We're just trying to describe ourselves, I believe, right?
Yes.
Trying to
Yeah.
make a description of what we are all hallucinating here.
Isn't it fascinating? And all hallucinating it at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Own
great.
reality. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's this book that I like by Robert Anton Wilson. It's called Quantum Psychology, and there's one section. It's called The Thinker and the Provider, and basically
Yes.
he goes over what kind of Bob was kind of talking about. But so the observer, right? And so when they were like doing the double split or whatever, uh, they were saying about how like the observer, whoever's doing the test, like affects like the test, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so like the thinker and the provider is like you have these two aspects of like what builds your perception, right? It's like what you think of certain things, and then the provider, like the subconscious of you, provides evidence of whatever your deep held beliefs are. Like you can never like really get outside of your own perception, no matter
Yeah.
how much
Yeah,
you try.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
And it's so
hallucination.
fascinating. Yeah. It's so fascinating because, like, sometimes when I meditate, I
Hmm.
can.
Yeah.
For a little while, it's as if I live in a different dimension.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
So, like, I've never done any psychedelics or anything.
Uh huh.
But sometimes when you talk about it, I think, wow, I think I might have been there.
Hmm.
Not
Yeah.
not your funky one, not your like what you see, but that other place,
Yeah.
that other, I don't even know what the words are, but I'm sure you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. You
It's.
know what is a great kind of psychedelic thing that I use that is not actually a psychedelic,
Uh huh.
is the white noise of the river.
Mm.
I just sit in one rock, and started getting into the meditational state, and suddenly you start to realize about the patterns of the flowing river. And when you get there, your mind recognize the patterns, and you
Mm,
get into some kind of trance. and,
really?
and yeah, it's really impressive, and it's super healing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, after that, I feel like I release a lot of things, and I feel like new.
Mm-hmm.
I do it. Yeah, I live really. I find this place because it's really close to the river, so
Mm,
I can go there
Yeah.
every time I want. It's like medicine. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and
mm,
and well,
mm,
in this hallucination, they say that the water, it's the vehicle of all information in the universe. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of information flowing in the river, and and the sound is also part of that information flow.
Well, quite literally and physically, water is a conductor of energy.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yes.
going to like your point, like when you were saying that, because like okay, there's this one time. So I have a lot. I have several different experiences of psychedelics, but also like weird meditation stuff, and then dreaming, which is the most craziest
Mm,
experiences that I've had. And this is like weird stuff. Okay, no psychedelics, but dreaming. Um, and
mm,
and one time during my practice of Toltec dreaming, like I had this experience where it was like a lucid dreaming, but like in the beginning I didn't know it was a dream. Like I thought I was in waking life, but it was like halfway into this, then I realized I was in a dream. And then
Hmm.
yeah.
like I was like, oh, okay. And then talking about like getting non-local information, and that's kind of like why I labeled that thing the bee shaman, the dancer of non-local information.
Hmm.
Anyways, and
Yeah.
then like in this dream I was asking like different things, and it was like teaching me like how to do this like weird ritual for azakin. And and then
Mm,
but then like later I had this like kind of like a I had sleep paralysis, and like in my sleep paralysis there's like this like weird stuff that happens, and it's very very bad. It freaks me
oh,
out.
really?
But anyways, and then so like I kind of like go and like I ask like what should I do to like help me like not have that. And then I got like this
Yeah.
answer to like do this like weird thing with like, well, not that weird, but it told me to do something with water to like a cleansing ritual. And so I
Okay.
remember one time I was like, basically, do you guys know what incubus or a jinn is?
Yes.
Okay, so in sleep paralysis, and like there's like old myths about this too, the old hag or whatever. So like you have like it's an in
Yeah.
between state of waking and sleeping, but a lot of times you don't necessarily have the presence, but a lot of times you do have a presence of like this shadow being like on top of you, and like you can't
Mm,
move.
Hmm.
And like I remember like different things because when I was doing the dreaming, like you kind of like open up consciousness and like all these things start flying in. And so like I was like trying to like engage, like how do I like turn this off? Like is it by like engaging
mm.
with it? I was like asking it questions like why are you so like disgruntled? Like you feel bad energy, like please
Right.
please leave me alone. And then like
Yeah.
nothing. It was like
Yeah.
not communicating. And then like every time I like would wrestle, like try to get out of its grasp, like more force came. Like every time I'll put force, like two times more force would come back to me. So I was like, okay, like
Wow.
physically trying to do something about this is not the way to do it. And this, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
then so like later I was like exhausted, and then I kind of like asked my dreams, what should I do? And it gave me the
Yeah.
information, and I was like, okay, do this. And like it was like this thing with like water to like cleanse you. And then ever since like that moment, like you know we 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 have these the mythos of different things, right? I mean, it's basically a baptism, but like it's been so removed, but there's like these essential natural organic things that we we do that have like these deeper mechanisms, like being
Mhm.
intentional with water is, like the real baptism. Like it doesn't matter about like getting it ordained by a priest or some bullshit like that. You know what I mean? Like you can
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
yeah,
engage
yeah.
with the energy like directly. But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing I was talking with my friends yesterday about uh, that. I really don't know what religion I have.
Hmm.
Like I took information from every
Yeah.
from every kind of religion, and I think that we all are like that in a way.
Yeah.
Like we have all our own religion, and but we have a common ground, which is the earth, which is the natural world, that is like the representation of, for every creed, every religion. It's something that no one can deny, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
those natural elements, and the water and the fire and everything in the natural world is like, okay, this is real, this is
Hmm.
real. And when you get into it, it's amazing. I spent like 10 years of my life, I'm still doing it. I will say like 10 years and I'm still doing it, but I'm not doing it like so often. I used to do it. I went,
Hmm.
when I was living this other place called Concepcion. Actually,
Hmm.
I went to the mountain and I walked like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 kilometers every day, to the top of the mountain, to get to this perfect spot.
Hmm.
And it was like a fucking Disney episode, man. Like, all
mm,
the you stayed there for a while, and the
mm,
animals and everything started to get back to this natural flow. And you recognize that they have personalities, and they are living in a party. Actually, they sing and they dance and they do
Oh yeah.
things, and there's another guys there having a little discussion, and
Oh,
a little
there's
argument.
these squirrels
It's
that live in
amazing.
my backyard that have like beef with other like animals in my backyard. Like there's an ongoing war between these squirrels and these birds that live in the tree. I see them all the time. I'm like back there smoking and I'm just like tripping out on like, dude, we get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. But and it's amazing because you change. So I had to go every day during the dry season to that spot.
Hmm.
And it was amazing. It was like, man, why we are so far
Yeah.
from this party.
mm.
They were like really happy. uh, uh,
Yeah.
it's like, let's go back to the paradise.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
uh, I have to get going, but I want to end it with this because this is like kind of like goes into the this thing that I keep on like scratching with the flower and song. So there's this epic it translates to the water tamale festival, and it's like this really sacred um like festival dance thing that they used to do, and it was like every
Mm,
8 years or something. But like they like according to some of the lore, is like they never shared it with like the what do you call it, the Franciscans, or any of the church or the
mm,
conquistadors. They kept it to themselves, and then it ended up dying, and then no one knows for sure how that
Mm.
one particular festival went. But like reports of it, of like different things that people understood of it, like people would dress up as birds, like different types of birds, and they would like
Awesome.
it was like Circus Soleil in Las Vegas. Like these guys, like whoever were the birds, were like literally like fly off of like trees and like swoop down
oh.
and do all sorts of like crazy like bird calls, and there was like drums, and there like people were like
Hmm.
like
Mm,
recreating that symphony of nature. They weren't just like they were embodying whatever spirit Nawal of whatever animal or whatever thing they were trying to express. But it was like this whole crazy festival that they had. But it's like crazy that like these things that what you're saying is like there's a lot of these like real simple natural things that we used to really be engaged with that like we're so far away from, but it's like still within us. It's still like like one hike away. just go, walk. Because I feel like that too when I go walking like really early in the morning when no one's like up, and then like what you were saying, like I run into these coyotes that live by like the hill by the freeway, and we just kind of like see each other, and we nod at each other, and we walk away, and I just kind of like trip out on them, and they trip out on me. We have a really cool, like, hey, what's up, coyotes?
Yeah. True friendship.
Yeah.
True friendship.
Yeah. At a distance. You stay over there. I stay over here. I'm chill. You're chill. We're all good in the
neighborhood. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
But so I think too. What we should do is start like getting just like trying to create those moments out wherever we are, and like capturing certain things, and then that's like what we build the music video off of. So like all these like where you are in your part of the world, where I'm at in my part of the world, and where Bob is in her part of the world. Just get little snippets of moments. And then like that could be the visuals that we use for this upcoming project.
I've got a little stream down the back of this orchard here.
Okay.
Little stream, and it makes the noise. It makes that little trickle noise.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a battery to come for my camera, for my thing. I will see if I can make some recordings down there.
Yeah.
That could.
Sure.
That sounds good. Okay.
Great.
Well, until next week, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you so much. So cool. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you. Bye,
See
guys.
you.